What's going on? So first off, I want to say I appreciate you reaching out and wanting to learn more about building strength. So I'm going to hop straight in. As you know, I'm going to do so. And yeah, we're going to get right into what this video is about. So basically, first thing, let's talk strength work. We're not bodybuilding. We're not powerlifting. Our focus with strength work as an athlete is to complement your skills training to help you be more dominant. If your body is stronger, you are harder to break down. Your posture is harder to break. Your movement is harder to stop. Your punches, kicks, everything. Or if you're, a jiu-jitsu athlete, as an example, your control, everything you do is going to be more difficult to prevent you from doing. Now, on top of that as well, so that's just breaking down the purpose, right? It's not a bodybuilding program. It's not the push-pull legs. It's not the fucking bro splits that you'll see online. It's an extremely different thing because our goal is to help you get better at a sport, not just to get you as strong as possible. So in this video, I'm going to break down the methods that we use with our athletes, including the people you see on the screen. Starting in the top left, Gaston Bolaños. He's a UFC bantamweight. We worked together for his last fight. He ended up winning a pretty solid 3-round decision against a very tough wrestler as a pure striking base himself. He was able to really work the ground game as well and then be able to continue to get the fight back where he wanted it and really was able to implement his game plan because of that increased strength and power. Next, right beside him, Floyd Masson. He's an ex-WBO world champion. We worked together for one of his camps. And his words, you can see it pinned at the top of my Instagram page. This was the best he's ever felt in a fight working with me using these methods that we're going to break down for you today. Right beside him, Chris Curtis, standing with me when I went down to Vegas to Extreme Couture. We worked together for UFC 297. You can also see a testimonial from him pinned on my page where he gave me a shout out on the Ariel Helwani show about the experience working together and the benefits he felt from the program. And I'm not sure, I think he broke it in his 5-round fight with Brendan Allen. But to that point, that fight we worked together was his highest output that he had in his UFC career in terms of strikes. On the bottom row there, we've got John Nguyen, the ex-unified MMA featherweight champion. We've been working together for 2 years. He's 8-4, massively exciting guy. He's on his way up and confident he's going to be in the UFC, hopefully by the time you watch this video. Right next to him, Mac Larson, 7-2 pro in MMA. He's again, fast rising, the BFL welterweight champion, beat one of their longtime reigning stars in a fight that he was very much expected to lose. And then finally on the final picture there, Giovanni Scuderi. We've worked together for a little while as well. He is in the top 10 in the WBA in boxing as well. So we've worked with a lot of very high level athletes with these methods with a ton of success. So make sure you have a notepad, make sure you're ready to take notes, pay attention. Let's get into it. So the biggest mistakes I see athletes making when it comes to their strength training is, number one, avoiding it. Right. So one of the ridiculous things that I always hear people tell me, well, weights make you slow, so you shouldn't lift weights. Now, the reason people think this isn't because weights make you slow. It's because they're doing it wrong. Right. They think weights make them slow because they're either doing too much, following the wrong style of program, or just burning their body out and then immediately trying to go box, do MMA, roll, whatever it is, and feeling slower while they do it because they're burning themselves out doing too much. So they just avoid it altogether, or they're not doing enough of it to actually see consistent improvement, meaning that every time they do it, they do get too sore because they're not building up their body's tolerance. And then because they're too sore, they go into their skills training, they feel slower, they put it into their heads, weights make me slow. It's not that weights make you slow, you just need to learn how to use them. Now, the second mistake I see kind of going off of that is doing too much. Athletes don't know how to actually structure a strength training program. So they feel like I just need to do the most. If I do more reps, more weight, more work than anyone, outgrind everyone, then there's no way they can get better results than me. The problem with that, again, is weights are only one small part of the overall training you're doing. So if you're grinding it out in the weight room every day, then you're going to your skills training and you're half-assing your skills training because you're too exhausted. You're not getting the results you want. So the truth is, it's balance. It's not about avoiding it. It's not about doing the most. It's about doing the right amount to complement the skills work you're doing. So what to do? These are the 5 steps we need to focus on when it comes to learning how to incorporate strength training into your weekly routine. Number 1, reframe your mindset. This isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. What a lot of people do is they get into the weight room and they think, I need to go 6 days a week, 2 hours a day, really just, grind it out, do the most work. It's not about doing the most work right now. It's about building steadily over time, right? So whatever, like, let's say your strength is right here right now. It's about getting to here and then here and then here, and then continuing to build over time with a manageable amount that you can, so that you can work your skills training and your strength training at the same time. So you're continuing to get stronger while you're continuing to get better. You're never overdoing it on either side. You're never getting injured, and you're able to get the longevity as well as better results. Number 2, stick to just 2 to 3 days a week. Work it with what works best for your schedule. So 2 of the guys that work with me here, actually, Chris for UFC 297 did 2 sessions a week with me. Mac has been working with me for 7 years. He's only ever done 2 sessions a week. John has been working with me for over 2 years, has only ever done 2 sessions a week. And all 3 of these guys got phenomenal results from these programs because it's consistency over time, not doing the most right now. So if your schedule is packed, you got a lot of other stuff, you need more time for recovery, bump it down to 2 days a week and you can still get fantastic results from it. Number 3, make them full body sessions. Because if you're doing 3 sessions a week, but you follow like a typical kind of push-pull legs, then you're getting 1 session a week that you're hitting your legs. And let's say you do that on Fridays. You do 15 sets of legs on Fridays because you really want to make sure that you're getting a lot of result from it. And then you go try to spar on Saturday. That's going to be a dog shit sparring session, to put it lightly. So what you need to do instead of trying to just bump it all into 1 session, make them full body sessions. Now you're doing 6 or 8 sets of legs, not crushing them nearly as much on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now your body's getting used to more volume. You're able to adapt to it more effectively, and then you can hit that good sparring session the next day. Make sense? Hopefully. And then the next thing we got to think, be safe. One of the best pieces of advice I got early in my coaching career is always think risk versus reward. Can I get the result I'm looking for with something less likely to hurt me? So as an example, this is why you don't see me do a lot of Olympic lifting with athletes, because not that there's anything wrong with Olympic lifting, but they're complex lifts. They require a lot of, a lot of coaching, a lot of, learning how to do it. But when we come back to the goal, your goal is not to be an Olympic weightlifter. Your goal is to use that power that you're generating to translate back to the combat sport that you're competing in. So doing loaded jumps, doing, different variations of those are going to get me that same explosive power that I'm looking for, and be much less likely that something in that process goes wrong and causes injury, right? So with everything you're doing, always think, is there a safer way that I can get the result I'm looking for? Now, again, you can get hurt doing pretty much literally anything, but always just think, what is going to give me the best reward with the least chance of any kind of injury or setback? Finally, never be too sore for your skills training. So coming back to that, the goal of this training is to help you be a better athlete, help you compete in your sport more effectively. So if we're beating the shit out of you with strength work, and then you're going back into your sport at a shell of yourself for all your skills practices, you're not going to compete better as an athlete because of it. So we need to balance how much can we do while you can still do your training, so that we can see the strength results, see your skills, your abilities continue to develop, so that we can peak both of those together, so you're at your best with the best skill set on the night of your fight. So how do we set it up? Number 1, like I said, full body sessions. We want to be able to put in more volume to the whole body, and we want to be able to do that multiple times per week to get your body more used to the amount of volume you're putting on it without being too sore. Number 2, start with a lower volume. If you're not used to strength training, don't jump in and say, I need 6 exercises with 5 sets of 10 reps with each one. Like, start with lower volume. And as you get used to the lower volume that you're including, see how that's affecting your strength, your skills training, see how you're able to balance both together. And as that continues to improve, you can start increasing it. Best way to start, 2 lower body exercises, 2 upper body exercises, both for 3 sets of 6 reps. Minor amount of volume. If you're not used to strength training, this is going to start to build that tolerance, and then we can start to increase the volume over time. And the reason I'm not giving specific exercises is because the actual exercise itself isn't as important as the output you're getting from it, right? You can do a deadlift, you can do a squat variation, you can do lunges, you can do whatever Romanian deadlifts, whatever lower body exercise feels good, as long as you're keeping it within that framework. Now, when it comes to intensity, right, I always operate off of the RPE scale. So when you're starting off with this 2 lower, 2 upper, 3 sets of 6, we want it to be at around an 8 out of 10 RPE. So basically, when you finish that 6th rep of each exercise, you should feel like before my technique starts to go, I could get 2 more, and then that's it. You start by doing that, you're going to start seeing that overall weight that you're lifting increase, but you're not hitting that 10 out of 10 where potentially the form's starting to break, problems start to arise. So how do we progress this, right? Because we don't want to just be doing 2 upper, 2 lower, 3 sets of 6 forever. You're going to be progressing by either A, adding volume. So start doing 4 sets of 6, 3 sets of 8, adding overall reps that you're doing with these exercises. B, add weight, increase minimally week to week. Or you add exercises. Instead of 2 upper and 2 lower, you start going 3 upper and 3 lower. And then what you can do to help get more work in less time, decreasing the rest time without decreasing the quality of the session, is start adding in supersets. So as an example, lower body 1 for 6 reps, upper body 1 for 6 reps, and then repeat that for the 3 to 4 sets that you're doing. And then when you are thinking about progression, this is a very, very important thing to keep in mind. You got to come back to that RPE scale because fatigue will be a factor. As you continue to train, you're doing your skills training, you're working hard at that. You're not going to necessarily feel your best coming into every strength session, right? So work with where your body's at. Obviously, our goal is to continue to increase over time. But let's say you have a hard sparring session on Friday, and then you go to try to do your lift on Saturday and your body's beat up, you're a little sore, then when you work towards that 8 out of 10 RPE, it might be a little lower this week. That doesn't mean that you're getting worse. That just means that your body is at 70%, as an example, of what it was when you did the session last week. So if the weight is at 70 to 75% of what you're doing, of what you did the week before for that week, don't be worried about it. Do it with where you're feeling your body's at, and then continue to focus on trying to improve it next week. And this is why we use RPE versus what a lot of people do, which is the percentage of your 1 rep max. Because percentage of 1 rep max, let's say to make math easy, you have a 100-pound max back squat, and your strength session says 85% of your 1 rep max for 4 sets of 3. Now, you're going to go in and you're going to try to lift that 85 pounds. But again, if you're fatigued, if your body's beat up, you're sore, now you're not getting to that 85 pounds because that's probably 110% of what your max is on that given day. Now you're not getting those reps with that weight that you're supposed to, and you feel like you're failing. With the RPE scale, we still want to push ourselves, but it gives us more freedom to actually work with where our body's at versus just having to stick to a strict, rigid, this is what you need to do today, no matter what. That really doesn't work. So other things to keep in mind when it comes to strength training. Strength training is one element of the whole picture. Don't take this video and think this is the only thing I need to do to prepare for my fight. This is one area of the training that you need to be doing. You need conditioning, you need plyometrics, you need mobility, and I'm going to continue to post that kind of stuff on my page, going to continue to deliver that kind of stuff to you guys, but make sure that you're continuing to do research, continuing to pay attention. The other part of that, different points of your season are going to require different focuses in your strength work. Right? In the off camp, we want to be lifting a little bit heavier, focusing on really building strength. Whereas when we get into camp, we want to maintain the strength and still build some, but we're more focused on the power, the speed, the ability to repeat explosive efforts so that we can peak you physically for your fight. So again, as you go through this video, keep those kind of things in mind that depending on the time of year you're in, you're going to need to switch these things up a little bit. This is meant as a baseline to guide you in the right direction. This is not the be-all, end-all of every single area of strength and conditioning. So use it as a guideline. Use it to start building your strength training, but continue to follow along, continue to do your research, and continue to learn more about strength and conditioning so you can continue to improve your performances. So that's it. That's all. I appreciate you tuning in. Now come back to our Instagram chat. Let me know what you took away from this. I'll talk to you soon.